This is going to be quite an emotive subject. It's a subject that's very close to my heart. It's something that
Good luck, mate.
You will hear and share some very personal stories of the individuals that are going to join me on the stage. You might hear things that you don't feel comfortable with. You might hear things that resonate with you, and you can share some personal stories. So I'd like to first call upon Joe Taylor, MBE, to join on the stage. Sam Mullins, Christina Perez-Domper, Solsan Dahan, and Paul Pope. The sponsorship for the chair is only round to 5, so I'm going to stand up on this occasion. Little did I know that the 4th of November 2011 would become a day that would carve out a path for me. I had no intentions of being the duty commander that day and witnessing the death of 7 people by fire. On that day, I acquired post-traumatic stress disorder, something that now, through the work of medical profession, I can live and cope with, and there's no stigma for me taking 1 tablet every day to stand up here, do my job, and live my life. There are still too many people that are fighting it. What we want to share with you over the next 20 minutes, or 25 minutes, I suppose, having got an award from the Brigadier, if I run 5 minutes over, I'm sure that you're not going to be too upset. So, in no particular order, we're going to look at personal experiences and how we've all shared health and well-being issues. When I put this panel together, we put together a Zoom call that was scheduled for 30 minutes. An hour and a half later, we were still sharing and openly discussing our own experiences and why it is vitally important for leaders to be aware of health and well-being issues. As a leader, you put the whole trust in your team, and if your team is suffering or you're suffering, then the team performance is not going to be to its best. So I'd like to call on Christina. We share some commonalities. You've very kindly agreed to come and share some of your issues, and it would be great if you could share that with the audience.
Yeah. Hi, everybody, and thank you for putting this together, because I do believe mental health and well-being, not only of the leaders, but the teams that we lead, is very, very important. So I just wanted today to bring a little bit of my personal side, how I've experienced this. I do have a bit of a unique situation where I have an autoimmune disease that actually flares up when I'm dealing with mental issues. So I'm in a unique situation where my body shows me, my skin will show me, hey, you're not doing good. Take the time to take that step back and address what you're going through. I know not everybody has that, but that's giving me the opportunity to use this. I have medication that they give me, and that's good, but that only covers the issue. What I try and do is address the root cause, because it is stress. It is those difficult times that make it come up. So I've been developing tools over time to just deal with it internally, myself, get better. And I am aware that it's going to be a lifelong struggle. You know, nothing's fixed overnight. It's not a pill that you take. It's work that you do every day. But focusing on that, mental health, getting help. We break, I sprain my ankle, I'm going to go to the doctor. I'm dealing with issues, I'm going to go to a therapist, right? And that's fine. I'm just working on myself and doing the best I can to be the best leader that I can be. And in working with myself, on myself, I'm also, hopefully, my team, the people that I'm responsible for, they also see the benefits and get those benefits. We're not making good decisions when we're not doing good, okay? So now I do have the ability to notice, hey, maybe not today. Don't make this decision today. Sleep on it. Maybe tomorrow you'll be better. So having that self-awareness it's going to make my decisions, my job, and my team a lot better and a lot more creative, that they feel like, they can be, okay, we're a people business, right, at the end of the day. So if we don't take care of our people, the industry is going to suffer as a result. So that's my approach to it, and that's what I try to do every day. And again, it is ongoing. It's never going to be done. But yeah, I wake up every day and, hey, I'm not perfect, but I deal with it, and I do the best that I can. Thank you.
And I think it's key to remember that you may be having a bad day, but there's always somebody that's potentially having a bad day as well. So it's always nice to be nice, and because you don't know what's going on behind the scenes or with an individual's either mental or physical health. Sam, I'm going to come to you next, and when we look at ourselves, we often think that we are indestructible. We think that we are weak. We think that we are suffering with things that maybe we shouldn't be because we've always been capable of doing it before. It takes a brave man to sit in front of a camera and put something on LinkedIn. Sam did just that, and that was why I reached out and said, if you feel able to, I'd like to invite you to join the panel. And I think that there's been some key learnings that you've taken from it, Sam, that I think a lot of people here could learn from.
Thanks, Duncan. Yeah, I'm going to mirror something that Christina said about you can't make good decisions if you're not in good health. And I think that was the one thing that really sparked I love making good decisions. It's what I enjoy doing. I think a lot of people do enjoy making good decisions. And I've got 3 companies employing nearly 200 people, and it's my job to make good decisions. And I found myself very, very quickly in a place where I couldn't. And I think and then it spirals out of control, thinking, how do I get out of this? And I think we were talking about this on the call the other day, and it kind of sort of went into the importance of well-being and everyone's different experience in mental health and how we look after our teams. And I know I've had my experience. It was only this year in February, and I started dealing with it not how you should deal with it. And then I stopped everything, looked at myself and said, right, I need to deal with this in the best way I possibly can. And when we were talking about it on the call, it quite quickly went into how important it is for me as a leader to get the whole group, the whole team, the management structure invested into mental health. And then the more I think about it, the more I feel about how difficult it actually is, because everyone has their different experiences. As it cascades down from the board down to the management structure, for me, as a leader of the businesses, I want everyone to have a great manager that looks after them, but it doesn't always happen. So my real challenge now is to use my experiences to really cascade that down the business and make sure that everyone in the group is looked after. And I think that's something that I feel really passionate about, but also the more I think about it, the more I realise that it is a tough task. I think over the last nearly 20 years of being in business, I've had a few HR managers. They don't always manage how I want them to manage, and I think that now is my struggle. Having the mental health issue so recent, it's now constantly on my mind. How can I make sure that the team is all in good health and everyone's making a good decision? So for me, it's a win-win for the employees and the team and me.
And so you're using that personal experience to the best effect of your immediate people, and which will go out wider within the community because they'll embrace it as well. I'll share a little story with you. In 1999, I walked into a meeting in headquarters, and the chief fire officer walked in, and there was a magazine on the table about managing stress, and the reaction was, bloody hell, they're now writing about it. So there we are, we're still working towards this, and many of you will know Jurassic Park. We need the lorry with Jurassic Park to reverse itself into the fire industry. We are still sitting with too many dinosaurs that want to do things the way they've done it in the past. That is no longer acceptable. I'm no longer in uniform. I'm no longer shackled. I'm a representative of IFSJ, and I would do everything in my power to get the message out there that it is okay not to be okay. And when we start realizing that, as Sam did, we can start then building back and putting things in place. Joe, I'm going to come to you, and I think it leads on from where Sam said he's got multiple companies, very similar to yourself, as a leader with responsibility for the company and also the welfare of the employees. And your personal experience of how you were affected by a close family trauma and how that affected you to run your business and how you were able to rely on your people to do that.
This time last year, it was at Intersec actually, we supply to the products to the Middle East. I got a call saying that my sister was diagnosed with cancer, and it just rocked my world. Everything just went. I couldn't focus. I still can't focus if I'm being honest. It's really hard, and she did pass away, but for that year I still had 2 businesses, and I was going into the office trying to run businesses, and I couldn't think, and my mind wasn't in it, but I still had to supply the customers because we've got a business. You know, everyone else's life goes on. Mine had stopped. And it was my employees what actually came to me and said, you know, you need to go. You can't be here. You're not managing well. So they sent me home, and they sent me to spend time with my sister on her last weeks, months. And she also had a child, which I've now took on. So I've had a massive change in my life in that sense, and still trying to run 2 businesses. But you've got to have a good team behind you, and I have got a good team, and I didn't know they were a good team. Well, no, I did know they were a good team, but they just stepped up naturally and helped me, because I don't think I could have done it, and I could have lost the businesses, lost my mind, don't know where I'd be really, and I'm still going through it, and I still don't know where I'm going to be. And I think talking to other people in the industry and the friendliness of this industry really helps. And you know, I'm still learning in business, and I'm still learning how to cope. And you know, I know things are going to happen in the future. You think, you know, you're plain sailing one minute, and then next minute this massive wave comes and crashes into you, and your world is different. So, yeah.
But you're still here. You're still smiling.
Yeah.
You're the best auntie to that lovely little angel, and it's a credit for you to take the courage to share that with us. Thank you. Sorsan, I said in no particular order, and it was probably the way I'd written my notes down when I was putting it up. Share your experiences and how health and well-being is such a vital part, not only to yourself, but how you see that within in the sectors that you're working in, and how that affects you personally.
First of all, thank you for this very valuable topic. I think the past couple of years were very hard on everybody. Like COVID hit us hard and changed the world how we know it. It made us sit at home and mingle between our work, our personal life, and face our fears. And this changed everything and the way we think of things. So what I want to say that we are all suffering on emotional level, not only on mental health or physical health. Our emotional health is fragile, and we need to feel grounded. And our role as leaders is to help our community to feel supported and to feel that they are cared for. I personally come from a family that suffered a lot. So I grew up and learned at a very young age the meaning of patience, the meaning of being resilient, and the meaning of hope. And I personally chose to separate from whatever I suffer from personally, whether physically or mentally or emotionally, and the rest of the world. So I wake up every morning, put my best smile, surround myself with positivity, and go to work. And make sure that I stay very focused to fulfill my ambitions and my goals. But this came with a price. I was born with an autoimmune disease also. I developed a severe case of IBS, and it was hard to sleep. This is why I choose differently for my team. I choose to hear them, to support them. I choose to let them vent at work when they need to. I choose to help them solve their personal problems. I also choose to laugh with them. I always make sure to dedicate time either to eat something with them or to just talk about anything or everything, to make them feel that work is not a place where they have to come just to earn money. I want them to feel that whatever they are working on, it means to someone. I want them to feel that work is a hobby. I don't want them to feel that the company just chose me as a random person to lead their way. I want them to feel that I'm part of their family, I'm their friend, I'm there to support them, because this makes a big difference. They give more, they are more creative, and they are more relaxed to come every day and show up at work. So nothing is helping. The social media is not helping. We open the social media and we see people suffering. We see earthquake. We see economic crisis. We see explosions. We see wars. They even tell us how we should look, what we should eat. So if we are not here to help each other and support each other, there is no sense to just only work for money. So this is what I want to share today.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for sharing that. To many of you out there, the name Brian Pope won't mean anything. Brian Pope was a legendary London fire officer, and I'd like to introduce the Paul Pope, Brian's son, to share a story.
Firstly, we're all family. Okay, we're in fire. Fire is a family. Firefighters, the firefighter community globally is a family. Firefighters and those involved with fire, their families behind them live with the passion of that job that they do every day. My father was an absolutely committed man he joined the fire service to do what he wanted to do, was to make a difference. He threw himself at the job, and sometimes that sacrificed the family life behind him. So he did quite a lot of work for the UK government after disasters. King's Cross disaster, wrote policies for London Underground to make survivability in underground stations a better place. He was on British and European committees for sprinklers, fire detection, and other things like that. So at all levels, he became very committed and spent a lot of time away from the family. Unfortunately, 5 years ago, he developed sarcoma mesothelioma, which was a cancer resulting from asbestos that was he was exposed to during his career. So I have two messages for for us, the global fire community, is one is contamination of firefighters doing their daily business, and the second one is the family. The family is an important thing, because when there's a tragedy, when a firefighter loses their life, when children lose their fathers or mothers in the firefighting world, the whole world collapses around it. Unfortunately for me, my father finished his career and retired, but he developed very aggressive asbestos-related cancer, which took him from being a 6'2" very strong man to complete disaster within weeks. And if anybody knows anything about asbestos, if it gets in your body, it can sit there for 40, 50 years. Nothing can happen, and all of a sudden, it can hit and it can take hold of your life in a matter of weeks and destroy you. So contamination, firefighter contamination, going into buildings, being exposed to all sorts of carcinogenous, asbestos, nasty stuff, is really important that we look after those firefighters. So that's one message. The second one is the devastation on the family, which happens afterwards, and the isolation that the family feels. My father was blue lighted into hospital, and I was told by an industry colleague, you've got to have that conversation with your dad. You've got to talk to him. You've got to tell him you love him. You've got to find out these things. You don't want to do this conversation, but if you don't do this, you will suffer for the rest of your life because you don't have that conversation. So he said, do it this weekend. I'm going to call you Monday and make sure you've done it. On the Saturday, my dad was blue lighted into hospital, and typical his style, it was nothing. He was almost dead there and then. They managed to recover him. My mother and my sister left the recovery room, and I said to him, you and I need a chat. I need to know what's going through your mind right now, and I need to tell you I love you, and I'm here for you. And he said that he was petrified. You would never know. Typical man for firefighter, brave to the end. But he was selfless. He wasn't he was petrified for his situation, but he was petrified to leave the family. And I gave him those reassurances there and then that's not going to happen, that I'll be here and I'll be taking that on. The other message was my mum's train of thought when we were told he was dying. We were all in the room when we were told he was dying. And my mum didn't even think, she just came out. She said, I've only just got him back from the fire service because he retired. I've only just got him back, and now I've lost him again to the fire brigade. This was unprocessed thought patterns that my mum had when she came out. So really, I'd like a challenge set to the global industry of how do we look after our family globally, to protect them better, to look after their families when they're injured, when they're killed, when they're suffering from also mental, physical contamination. Let's improve this. Let's find ways to make time to take that challenge forward. And pay homage to those people that risk their lives every day and go into places where they shouldn't be for the sake of us and saving lives.
Thank you, Paul. I think
first of all, accept my deep condolences for you and your family. Your father, he lives as a hero, and he will remain in global heart as a hero.
I was here yesterday, and when ISJ did the Leaders in Security, and I've only known fire for the last 35 years, and to me, security meant a camera that was going to catch me doing something wrong and a police officer that was going to arrest me. So that was my view of the security industry. One thing that all the people that I met yesterday and who've experienced the security industry is that they haven't got what we've got. Speak to my colleagues that work on the security side, and they'll tell you that the security industry has not got this family that we've got. Wherever we are in the world, whether you're in passive, active, fire rescue, we're all there together. My experiences of walking into a fire station in Greece when the car ran out of petrol, I didn't have any identification, but I couldn't speak the language, but within minutes they knew that I was a firefighter, and the hand of friendship was out there to help. And I think that that is a credit to every one of you, that we've got this close bond and this closeness, that the industry, both manufacturing and the sharp end, if you like, in fire rescue, works together so closely and is so passionate about the industry that we work in. It's taken a lot for these people to agree to my invitation. There were some discussions last night about whether we were going to go with it the way that we planned. We did. I'll leave you with a thought. One thing that I look at people now, there's people out there that they're always having a bad day. That's because of their normal approach to life. It's better to be bad and moan than it is to be positive. Those people are now known to me as air hoovers. All those people are doing is hoovering up the air around them. They're the people that we all know that we don't choose to spend too much time with. People that smile, give you an outward smile, and are open and honest are the good people. But we need to be helping others. We need to be helping each other all the way through. It's been great to stand up here and chat. When I spoke to a couple of colleagues in the industry at home and said, I'm pushing to put a health and wellbeing panel on at a conference, at a fire conference is going to be well attended, they said there's going to be a few sharp intakes of breath, because there's people that are going to sit in that room and say, I can identify what these people are going through. If you are, and you want a confidential chat, then all of us are here. My details are freely available online. Don't be alone. Stand together, and we will achieve miracles. Thank you. Any questions?
No, we purposely switched it off.
Turn it on.
Hello, testing. Okay, thank you for that. You've actually just done exactly what I was going to do, and this is extremely impromptu. Wow, guys. I mean, I'm now standing as a member of the audience, and I don't know where to begin to express or even begin to ask questions. As a business leader, look, I'm so taken back, Sam, your story. I think so often there's times in life where we all face personal issues and crises. I'll be honest, I'm not going to go into my details, but I've always believed as a captain of the ship that you have to carry on, and you can't show that. I'm going to be honest, say that weakness. So I'm sure there's a lot of business leaders that would like to ask questions about how, and Joe, and how you talk to your team and how you get that to work. But that's for another time. I think what really starts in that learning process is what you guys have done today. And to, as we've just said with the standing ovation, to be able to come here and talk so openly and so honestly, I absolutely salute you guys. Thank you so much for that. It's a real pleasure. And I think that deserves another round of applause. Thank you.